My name is Austin Chaney. I am enlisted in the United States Air Force. I'm stationed in Jacksonville at Little Rock Air Force Base. I live here in Conway, and recently I've been married. I'm originally from East Tennessee, and by God's good providence, He brought me here to Arkansas. Leaving home for the first time after joining the military, that I decided that I was an atheist. I didn't really believe in anything, and I was pretty militant about it. It was after losing my little brother and being stationed in Korea for a year, away from family and everything for the first time. And it was, for the longest time, being militant, understanding people don't know what they believe or why they believe what they believe. But it was there after being an alcoholic, coming home late one night after a concert, it being pulled over and nothing really happening. I made it home and I sat down and kind of wondered, if God doesn't exist, I'll continue to do whatever I want. But if He does exist, then because He's God, I have to order my life according to Him. And so I immediately bought a Bible off of Amazon. I read it for 2 weeks. I went to I found a church, and there the pastor was the protege of Kenneth Copeland, and I had no idea at the time. But it was after months of going there that I had asked him the question, how come I need you to tell me what's in the Bible? And how come what you tell me is in the Bible isn't there? And he just told me the whole, you're not baptized with the Spirit, you don't see what I see. Somebody I just met told me I needed to watch American Gospel, so I watched that movie 12 times in a week. And that's when I went back to the chapel and tried to let everybody know how we were getting it all wrong, and found out that not everybody was seeing things the same way I was. And I watched Paul Washer's What is the Gospel, and being in tears and remembering that it was, how come I've never heard this before in my life? And how come nobody's saying this stuff anymore? How come nobody's teaching the gospel? Why is it everything else but this? I got orders to Little Rock, and that's when I had showed up, and I found this church immediately, and I came the first Sunday that was available. God had essentially called me into the ministry after sitting down and contemplating, and I had found out that one of my heroes, R.C. Sproul, had passed away in 2017. And it was years after I was converted, but after finding out that he had passed, and then looking at all of our other heroes that we have in the faith, like Paul Washer, John MacArthur, and this generation's passing, and there's not that many that are rising up that aren't preaching the word and standing on the word alone, and they're using everything else other than the Word of God and to proclaim a message that's not from God, that there's only one way of salvation, and it's from Him. So the reasons for going to seminary is to be trained for the pastorate and to be trained for ministry. The other seminaries, what they have to boast about is their Ivy League, but GBTS is more concerned with creating battlefield theologians more so than they are academics. They want a theologian in the pulpit as well as a pastor and a shepherd and a preacher and a minister, somebody that knows how the church is supposed to operate. And that all the ministers that are here, they all have based their lives on the Word of God.